My sister slept with my husband Part 2. Chapter 6 The Debt Transfer Scheme. There's a special kind of power in watching people plan their future. When you already own the wreckage they're building it on. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger is loud, messy, emotional. What I felt was colder, sharper, mathematically precise. The wedding was locked in. The vendors were buzzing. And they, my charming ex-husband and his second-choice bride, were still spending like royalty with my name on their banner. So I did the only reasonable thing a betrayed woman with a spreadsheet, a steel spine, and an excellent lawyer would do. I gave them everything. And I mean everything. I met Vera in a marble and glass office in the financial district. She arrived with 2 coffees and a file labeled Exit Strategy. We opened it like a treasure chest. Inside, tax documents, joint account agreements, marriage records, power of attorney loopholes, loan clauses, quiet claim authorizations, fraud markers flagged but never pursued. Each page was a door. And Vera had the keys. We'll reroute the liabilities through corporate and household transfer. You're listed as a majority signer, but that can change. To who? To him. But with a gift clause. No fraud. No theft. All legal. Just, extremely unfortunate for the recipient. I smiled. Slowly. Let's make it a wedding present. My husband had registered a small consulting business 2 years ago. Vaguely defined. Largely inactive. He'd used it to apply for loans and shuffle payments. The IN was tied to our home address. My name was listed as co-founder, a fact I barely remembered signing off on. With the right moves, we shifted the ownership entirely to him. That included the $43,000 in unpaid vendor fees, 2 pending lawsuits he'd never told me about, and a business line of credit teetering at $72,000. All his. Now irrevocably. Using the household asset transfer forms Vera prepared, we moved joint liabilities, credit cards, open loans, and property costs, under his full legal name. One of them required a notarized statement. You forged his signature on a housing document, Vera reminded me. Are you comfortable doing it again? I didn't flinch. I've written his name more times than he's ever said mine out loud. We filed it quietly. There was no audit. No flags. Just another Monday in the system. Now for the cherry on top. My sister. She had used my identity, stolen, knowingly or not, to authorize at least 5 wedding purchases and sign contracts. 2 of them. She added her name as event co-signer. A detail I only noticed because Vera flagged it. We filed a co-liability adjustment, making her an equal party in every charge tied to the wedding account. Why? Because the purchases were made under fraudulent authorization, but with her active consent. That's all Vera needed. You're not just giving them debt, she said, double-checking the forms. You're giving them to each other, with matching chains. By the end of the week, they jointly owned $137,000 in wedding-related debt. Over $100,000 in prior business liabilities. A soon-to-be foreclosed house. 2 vehicles with repair liens. 3 delinquent credit accounts. A half-investigated tax case. I owned none of it. Clean. Elegant. Surgical. They had no idea. And I was just getting started. I changed my phone number. Closed the last joint account. Set up a new identity-safe PO box. Filed a fraud alert. And poured a glass of wine as the final confirmations came through. In one night, I digitally transferred the weight of 2 years of lies, love, and credit card charges onto the couple who thought I was too typer to fight back. They thought they were starting their life together. I just made sure that life came with ball and chain contracts, compound interest, and court-certified consequences. Their debt wasn't just monetary. It was personal. And now, it was theirs. Signed. Sealed. Sabotaged. Chapter 7 Sisterhood of Shamelessness. I always knew my sister liked attention. But watching her online in the weeks leading up to the wedding was like watching a peacock on meth. Every day, she posted something new. A bridal countdown. A glam-up selfie. A photo of her lying on my former marital bed in a silk robe I recognized, mine, captioned. He finally chose the right sister # better fit # bride energy. She was smug. She wasn't just basking in betrayal, she was branding it. And I let her. The irony is, she genuinely thought she was winning. She paraded her victory like it was couture, gliding through Instagram stories, TikTok wedding hauls, and Twitter quips with the grace of a woman who believed she'd been chosen, not used. What she didn't know, couldn't know, was that every brand sponsorship she fished for, every RSVP she bragged about, every catered tasting she posted, was being silently catalogued by me. Screenshotted. Dated. Backed up in triplicate. Her captions became crueler by the day. Sometimes the second time's the charm, especially when the first was so uptight # good luck girl. Always knew I could take your man. Didn't know I'd take your wedding too # upgrade queen. Some women break glass ceilings. I broke a marriage. Worth it. Thousands of likes. Flaming emojis. Comments like, sheesh, savage and girl boss behavior. It made me nauseous. But it also made me grin. Because she had no idea that every photo she posted, every document she signed, every dollar she bragged about spending, was being weaponized. By me. Behind her online sparkle, the cracks were forming. One vendor tagged her in a post, then quietly deleted it days later. Another left a vague comment, please check your inbox payment. And in a now deleted TikTok, she claimed, we're being shadow banned because jealous people don't want to see love win. No, darling. You're being flagged because you put down a fraudulent deposit using my credit card. Love had nothing to do with it. My mother called me once, voice tight and awkward. She's really leaning in, isn't she? She thinks this is a victory lap, I said. Is it? Oh, no, I whispered. It's a countdown. A week later, the gossip blogs caught wind. Not the big ones, the local community tabloids. The kinds of blogs where bored people sniff for drama and weddings get their own column. They picked up the story after someone, not me, definitely not me, anonymously submitted a tip. Bride-to-be used her sister's identity to fund her entire wedding. Sister is reportedly lawyered up. More to come. The post went viral. Reddit threads bloomed. TikToks emerged. Did she really steal her sister's man and her money? Justice for the first wife. Plot twist of the year. One creator did a dramatic reading of her Instagram captions as if they were lines from a villain in a telenovela. It was glorious. I didn't say a word publicly. I didn't post. I didn't comment. I didn't leak anything else. I let her keep digging. The deeper she went into the public fantasy, the more oxygen she gave the fire building beneath her. And the more she posted, the faster she burned. By midweek, vendors started backing out. Quietly. One by one. The floral designer, we never received final payment. The cake artist, due to unforeseen circumstances. The violin quartet, client's credit card was declined. Reached out. No response. They weren't loud about it. Just gone. But she didn't stop posting. Oh no. She doubled down. Now it was full delusion, can't wait to walk down the aisle and leave the haters behind. Manifest it all. It was almost sad. Almost. Except I remembered every time she flirted with him in front of me. Every backhanded compliment. Every family dinner where she made me feel like a backup dancer in my own life. Every time she said, if it were me, I'd do it better. Well. Now it was her. And it was beautifully worse. By the end of the week, she posted a photo in front of the venue doors, locked, holding a bouquet of silk flowers and trying to smile. The caption. Some people are just threatened by love. But we're unstoppable. Try us. No one liked it. Literally, 0 likes. I screenshotted it. Saved it in a folder titled, Fallout. Then I closed my laptop. Poured myself a glass of Prosecco. And whispered to the empty room. Sisterhood of the Traveling Shame. Chapter 8. Crash the bridal shower. I wasn't invited, of course. Not that I expected to be. But I knew the location, the time, and the guest list. My sister had posted every detail days in advance with her usual lack of subtlety. Can't wait for my girls to shower me in love. Bride life. Stepping into forever. No drama, just champagne. No drama. She really should have known better. The venue was a quaint little garden cafe, all white brick and ivy, the kind of place that charged $17 for avocado toast and pretended it invented pastel. I arrived just before noon, the exact moment the first mimosas were hitting hands and the sun filtered perfectly through the pergola. I wore a cream blazer over silk trousers. Not white. But close enough to cause a stir. Hair up. Makeup flawless. Calm. Icy. Radiant. War ready. I didn't walk in immediately. I waited just outside the open-air garden wall, listening. I heard giggles, the clinking of glasses, the artificial laughter that women use when they are trying too hard to look like they've won. Then her voice. You guys, seriously, I feel so lucky. Like, not just because he's amazing, but because this feels right, you know. A murmur of agreement. Someone said, you deserve it, girl. Another voice added, honestly, this is your era. I smiled. Time to enter. I walked in through the side gate, unnoticed at first. It was one of those slow burn moments, where no one reacts until it's too late to pretend you didn't see. I passed the balloon arch. I passed the table with the DIY perfume station. And then I stepped directly in front of the long, linen-covered gift table. A few heads turned. A few gasps. One woman, a cousin, maybe, choked on her drink. And then she saw me. My sister. Mid-laugh, mimosa in hand, sitting beneath a floral sign that read, from Miss to Mrs. She went pale. The kind of pale that doesn't come from fear, but recognition. She knew what was coming. She just didn't know how. I walked slowly, deliberately, to the center of the patio. Set a box down on the table. Lifted the lid. Inside, a custom cake. 2 intricately sculpted fondant snakes, coiled around each other, fangs bared, eyes jeweled in red. Their tails formed a heart. Their bodies twisted into a perfect, endless loop. Around the base, the words. For the happy couple, may you devour each other. Gasps. One bridesmaid dropped her phone. Another whispered, "Oh my God," like a prayer. I looked directly at my sister. "I thought you might want something symbolic." Her lips parted, but no words came. I wasn't finished. I reached into my bag and pulled out a small envelope. Set it gently on the cake box. Also, a little paperwork. "You've officially been added as a co-liable party to every charge made under my name for this wedding." Dead silence. "Oh. And the venue?" I tilted my head. "They're still waiting on the final payment. But I'm sure you'll figure it out." Someone gasped, "Too loud, too dramatic." It echoed off the stone walls. I turned to go. Then paused. "By the way, when the cake starts leaking, don't panic. It's filled with raspberry compote. Not venom. I promise." And I walked out. I didn't look back. But I heard the sound of a glass hitting the floor. A raised voice, hers. Followed by the sound of my name. And panic. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Panic. Because the mask was slipping. The fantasy was tearing. And the crowd she thought was her court was starting to whisper. On the sidewalk, I passed a group of teenagers. One held up her phone. "Wait, you're the one from TikTok, right?" "The sister who," I smiled. Waved. "That's me." But not for long. The internet would eat it up in a few hours. The photos. The cake. The confrontation. Someone had definitely filmed it. Probably a cousin live streaming for clout. But I didn't care. This wasn't about going viral. This was about making sure no one ever forgot who she tried to become, and what it cost her. Chapter 9: Exposure Therapy. The bridal shower was just the appetizer. The real meal. That was going to be served digitally, slowly, methodically, and so scorched they'd still taste it on their tongues years later. It was time for exposure therapy. But not the healing kind. The kind where you stare your lies in the face and realize the world is watching. I'd been collecting everything. Every text, every flirty email, every receipt from the jewelry store and hotels. Every fake apology my husband typed in a haze of guilt but never sent. Every smug accidental selfie my sister posted from inside my old house. I had timelines. IP addresses. Bank statements. Screenshots. Audio recordings. And, most delicious of all, a full video of her trying on wedding dresses while bragging about how she was getting the wedding she always deserved, and on someone else's dime. She said it out loud. To a camera. While laughing. It was practically gift-wrapped. I didn't go public myself. No messy Facebook posts. No tearful TikToks. That would have made me look bitter. Petty. Unhinged. Instead, I let the world do it for me. I started by creating a private Google Drive folder titled, "The Truth They Forgot to Tell You." Inside, I included time-stamped images, credit card transaction records, Forged documents signed in my name. Email threads from vendors who were ghosted. A side-by-side comparison of her social media captions versus the real financial trail. And a folder labeled Wife vs Sister, the timeline of betrayal which made even me gasp when I saw it assembled in full. I shared the folder link, anonymously, with a few select people. 3 of her bridesmaids. 1 of my husband's co-workers. A blogger who specialized in unfiltered wedding drama. And a girl named Raina, who once dated my ex in college and had a personal vendetta longer than I could have dreamed. Raina took the bait like a shark tasting blood. By the next morning, it was everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. Subreddits were dissecting the affair like it was a true crime case. TikTok creators used dramatic voiceovers to read the texts between my ex and sister like it was Shakespeare meets the Real Housewives. A YouTube channel dropped a 12-minute breakdown titled, "She slept with her sister's husband, then threw a wedding on her credit. Here's what happened next." It had 400,000 views in 6 hours. And just like that, the fantasy collapsed. Vendors started pulling out publicly. Comments flooded her Instagram. #homewrecker bride started trending, alongside the screenshot of her laughing in a bridal robe captioned "He was never yours to begin with." They couldn't delete fast enough. Every post she deleted, someone reposted with the caption, "Too late. We saw it." She tried to control the narrative. Posted a black square. Wrote, "Sometimes people come for you when they see you shining. Love wins. Always." The comments. Savage. Love doesn't come with a $43,000 debt. Girl, you signed a W-9 in someone else's name, sit down. Sis, you're the villain, not the vibe. Then came the real hit. The florist leaked a voice memo. It was her. My sister. Screaming at them after they cancelled. "I don't care whose name the card's in, just run it again. This is my wedding and no one's gonna take it from me." It was unhinged. And it went insanely viral. Sound bites were remixed into club tracks. Someone used it as an AI mashup with The Devil Wears Prada. My personal favorite was a video of her voice over a burning Barbie dream house. And through it all, I stayed silent. Let the internet tell my story. Let the world weigh the receipts. Let her feel what it was like to be exposed, not by force, but by fact. No filter. No spin. Just the raw, unshakable truth. By week's end, she had gone private. He deleted his LinkedIn. Their shared wedding website redirected to an error page. But the damage was done. The public saw them now, not as lovers torn apart by fate, but as liars, thieves, and walking cautionary tales. And me. I booked a spa weekend. Didn't check my phone once. Because while they spent their week spiraling, blocking, explaining, spinning, I was simply watching it all fall. Just as I'd planned. Chapter 10. The bank calls. You can ignore the comments. You can delete the posts. You can even lock your account and disappear for a few days. But you can't ignore a bank call. Especially when they have your name, your new address, and your voice on file, screaming down the line at a florist last week, conveniently leaked and archived by the entire internet. It started quietly. I wasn't there, of course. But Vera had contacts, discreet ones. The kind that send you updates with subject lines like, "FYI the dragon stirs snake." The first call came from the credit union. A polite woman named Diane, I imagine. Mid-50s. Excellent at sounding calm while asking very dangerous questions. Hi, is this Miss Alyssa Monroe? We noticed some irregular activity on a joint card associated with your name and a Mr. Bradford Hale. We're calling to confirm charges totaling over $48,000. Pause. Then. We also wanted to verify your authorization status on this account, as it appears the primary card holder has been removed. Boom. The next call came from the bridal boutique. Not about the dress. About the financing plan she set up under my credit, using an old billing profile that she altered. The woman on the other end reportedly asked. Just confirming you'll be making your second payment of $2,000 next Friday. Except this time, there was no payment plan. Because the card was gone. The account frozen. The debt now fully and legally redirected to her. Then came the florist. Again. They weren't calling to confirm arrangements. They were calling to threaten legal action. One of the wire transfers had bounced, twice. Another was linked to a flagged account. Their message was clear: pay. Or lawyer up. By Friday, the calls were coming like clockwork. From lenders. From banks. From vendors she'd ghosted and stiffed. From companies with names like Solutions Recovery Group and Capital Debt Mediation. A bouquet of red flags. Each one a lovely little reminder that the dream she curated was never really hers. She tried calling me. Blocked. She tried emailing me. Filtered. She even tried leaving a voicemail, her voice trembling, forced kindness dripping between the cracks. Hey, so I think there's been some confusion. I'm not sure how my name got attached to this stuff, but it's like, totally snowballing, and I know you're mad, and I get it, but maybe we can just talk. Like sisters. Like sisters. Now she wanted to play the blood card. Sweetheart, you burned that bridge when you swiped my Amex to buy a Swarovski veil and hashtagged it #new bride who dis. The final straw, the chef's kiss of karmic calamity, was the venue. They had finally processed the contracts. And the liability clauses. She had signed using a digital form, thinking she was co-signing on behalf of him. What she didn't realize, what Vera made absolutely sure of, was that the form she signed made her a primary financial guarantor. Translation. The six-figure venue bill was hers now. Entirely. When she realized it, she reportedly had a breakdown in the parking lot. Full tears. Screaming. Tossed her phone. A friend tried consoling her. Another filmed it. It leaked. Of course. She was now the girl who stole her sister's man and got billed for her own humiliation. Me. I had brunch. 2 eggs over medium, rosemary potatoes, and a Bellini. The waiter smiled as I toasted nothing in particular. But in my head, I toasted every ring of her phone. Every automated voice. Every balanced you. Every silent moment after the line clicked. This call may be recorded for quality assurance. I assured them, it was. Chapter 11. The Fake Friends Splinter. At first, they clapped for her. Every post. Every smug little quote about finally finding real love. Every filtered photo of her hand on his thigh, dripping in rings bought with my money, they cheered. Heart emojis. Fire reacts. Queen behavior. But support like that is shallow. And scandal is contagious. especially when it's going viral. The fallout from the bridal shower crash and the debt revelations started spreading like black mold, quiet at first, then everywhere, all at once. And the first to wilt? The bridesmaids. It began with a quiet removal. Jenna, her college roommate and maid of honor, changed her profile pic, deleted every wedding-related post and unfollowed my sister on Instagram. Next came Brielle, the influencer friend. She posted a vague Instagram story. Some people aren't victims. They're just mad they got caught. No names. But everyone knew. Then someone leaked a screenshot, a group text of the bridal party thread, where my sister had written, "It's fine. Everyone's jealous. They wish they had a man who left his wife for them. I can't help that I'm a better fit." The replies. Ice cold. "This is too much, Alyssa. You said she was abusive. None of this is what you said. Are we being used for your fantasy?" One by one, the bridesmaids dropped. Dress orders were cancelled. RSVP statuses switched to not attending. The group chat went silent. Invitations started coming back in the mail, unopened, marked return to sender. One envelope had been scrawled with a Sharpie. "This isn't love. This is a circus." Her own godmother declined. So did 2 aunts. My cousin Sam, who'd remained neutral until then, sent her a text. "You owe her more than silence. And I'm not dressing up for a betrayal." She tried salvaging the public image. Posted a photo of her holding her bouquet during a dress fitting with the caption, "When the noise fades, real love remains. Unfiltered bride." Except the dress was off the rack. The stylist she wanted had backed out 2 days earlier. And the bouquet? A silk replica she'd made herself, because the florist wouldn't take her calls anymore. And then came the worst blow. One of the former bridesmaids, anonymous, clever, deeply petty, leaked the DMs. Dozens of screenshots were posted to a TikTok account called @confettikarma. There, for all to see. My sister mocking me as a wet napkin wife. Joking about needing to max her card before she cancels it. Gloating that she won the man and the mortgage, LOL. Saying even if it all crashes, at least I'll be infamous. That last one. That one went viral. It was used as a caption in hundreds of TikToks. Merch was made. Mugs. Stickers. Hoodies. At least I'll be infamous. Her words. Now a meme. Now a punchline. I watched the video from bed, hair wrapped in a towel, face glowing from a sheet mask. The comments section was better than television. "Sis, you're not infamous. You're a cautionary tale. The most pick-me collapse I've ever seen. Imagine stealing your sister's man and ending up with bills and no bachelorette trip skull." She tried to clap back. Started a live stream, trying to tell her side of the story. But the comments were brutal. People spammed snake emojis. Someone sent a super chat reading, "Tell us how the RSVP from the bank looked money with wings." She ended it after 4 minutes. Meanwhile, I was quiet. Polished. Untouchable. They wanted me to react, to cry, rage, release a notes-app apology for a war I didn't start. But no. She made herself a spectacle. All I did was shine a light. Chapter 12. The lawyer, the loan, the leak. He always thought he was clever. My ex, Bradford Hale. A man who believed charm was a strategy and loopholes were his birthright. He once told me, over wine and filet mignon, there's always a back door, babe. You just have to look smart enough to find it. Well, he found the door this time. Unfortunately for him, it only led deeper into the fire. By now, his life was smoke. The wedding had imploded. His bride was a meme. The business, what was left of it, had been flagged for audit after someone, read, Vera, accidentally forwarded discrepancies to a compliance office. So, in a final act of flailing bravado, he tried to sue me. Not for slander. For marital theft. The claim was bold. That I had fraudulently transferred assets behind his back. That I had maliciously sabotaged his reputation and personal finances by redirecting liabilities. That I had weaponized divorce proceedings for emotional revenge. He even attached an email I sent to Vera, out of context, where I had written, "Let's wrap the debt in a bow and gift it to him." Admittedly theatrical, but not illegal. Vera and I sat in her glass-walled office, overlooking a skyline he could no longer afford to rent a cubicle in. She flipped through the cease and desist with a smirk so sharp it could slice marble. "Oh, honey," she said, "he thinks this is chess. But we already burned the board." Enter the clause. Buried deep in the original marriage agreement, one he had drafted, back when he was trying to protect his entrepreneurial assets, was a tiny but critical line in Section 14b. In the event of division of marital property or dissolution of shared finances, both parties agree to assume ownership of any assets or liabilities reassigned under mutual household transfer. Translation: every account, every credit card, every refinancing shift I'd quietly made in the weeks before walking away, he agreed to them. In writing. He signed it. Not under duress, but in a notary's office. With snacks. His signature was on every page. And because Vera is Vera, she didn't stop there. She tied it all to the loan. You see, one of the most damaging items in his financial graveyard was a business loan, $72,000, interest compounding monthly. He took it out under our joint entity. He used my name to secure it. But after the transfer of ownership, carefully and legally executed, he owned the liability in full. But here's the twist. He added my sister as a co-signer. Back when they were high on stolen passion, he updated the account to reflect his new partner as a second signer, likely to inflate credibility, possibly to impress her, maybe to tie her in tighter. Doesn't matter why. What matters is this. Now she owed the debt, too. When they found out, they were in court. Not real court, mediation. He stormed out first. Allegedly threw a pen. She followed him into the hallway, screaming something about "Why would you do that without asking me?" Someone filmed it. It leaked. TikTok had a field day. The video went viral under the caption, "POV, you stole your sister's man and now the bank wants $72,000 for your trouble." It didn't stop there. Because someone, not me, but okay, maybe Vera, forwarded the suit attempt and all financial documents to a journalist at a mid-tier finance blog. The headline: "When Love Turns Liability, How a Bride Ended Up in Debt for Her Own Betrayal." The article was brutal. Worse. Accurate. Even worse. Say optimist. They were publicly, undeniably drowning. And the world was finally reading the fine print.
They lied. They cheated. They betrayed the one person who gave them everything. But guess what? The truth always finds a voice, and here, it screams. If you live for chaos, loyalty gone wrong, and revenge served cold. Like this video. Drop a comment. And hit subscribe, because on Family Drama Unleashed, we don't forgive, and we never forget. Tap that bell, because the next betrayal? It's already on its way.